realize you were on Insta as well.
Hmm.
That's awesome. So we'd love to do an Insta live with you. We're going to do some lives now and then, and we'd love to reel you in and
Sure.
showcase all of your great expertise. How does that sound?
Sounds great.
Yeah. Yeah. Hello, everyone. We're here today. As everyone knows, Purse Strings is here on our channel in our Facebook group for financially fearless women. And every Thursday, noon Central, we're here and presenting one of our featured Purse Strings approved professionals. And today we have Tracey Bissett. We're glad to have her. So, as everyone knows, those of you who are new here, Purse Strings provides free online tools and resources for women so that they have a one-stop shop to come to for resources, information, and access to our, cadre of multi-talented financial professionals who we call Purse Strings approved professionals, and Tracey is one of them. So the reason that we created purse strings is because women didn't have that central location to go to. They felt underserved and they felt dismissed. They felt like they weren't didn't have a place to get their questions answered without sometimes being pushed to product. So no product pushing here. It's all about helping women really advance their skills and their knowledge, answer their questions, ask an expert a question. Share this information. And when you have an issue, a question, you're moving, you're getting divorced, you're getting married, you're having a baby, whatever it might be, anytime in your life, which there's many that you have to make a financial transaction, decision, investment, come to Purse Strings, pursestrings.co. That's what we're here for, to help all women be what we call financially fearless. So welcome everybody. How are things looking, Maggie, on the
I'm
technology side?
I'm just looking at one more thing. It just being a little glitchy on one point, but
Yeah, Maggie's always looking. Whenever I see her, she's always like, I think I always say it looks like she's landing a plane somewhere because she's got all these dials and going on. So Tracey, tell us where you're from. We know where you're from, but tell the audience where you're from.
I am joining you today from Toronto, Ontario, in Canada, where I
Yeah.
live. And so, really excited to be here and speak to the group. And I'm a financial coach for entrepreneurs. So, excited to talk business finances and biz money mistakes today. So, we can either correct some things going on with people who are listening, or people can say, you know what, I'm not doing that. And so, I give myself a pat on the back. Because sometimes it's just as important to validate the things we are doing right. So
Yeah,
really excited.
wonderful. Yeah, and we're so glad that you come from Canada. It's exciting for us to know that we have so many great financial professionals from all over. Tracey and I were just talking because she's also going to be a featured guest for one of our great partners, Leadership Global, which is a global organization for women who are starting, launching, scaling their businesses. So she's going to be perfect for that audience. And we're so glad that she's coming to them as a representative of Purse Strings, as a Purse Strings approved provider, but also representing her own company, Bissett Financial Fitness. So, yay, we're so glad. Maggie, you ready to get started? What do you think?
yeah, I think we're doing great. I think we're doing great. So yeah, we can get
Excellent.
started. Let me pull up a little bio about Tracey so we can introduce her. This is Tracey Bissett, and she does one-on-one group coaching to help many experience business growth, increase monetary compensation, as well as clarity. And confidence and calm when it comes to financial matters. Her clients tell her that they appreciate her ability to meet them where they are at in their financial journey, build on their foundation with quick wins, and coach them forward so they can tackle their goals with confidence and decisiveness, which I think that's a real key word in there, is decisiveness. So yeah, we're so happy you're here today. And I'll put up your slides and we can get started.
Absolutely. Well, that's awesome. I'm excited to be here. So thank you, Maggie, and thanks, Barb. So we're going to dive in and see the slides. So Maggie will pull those up as well. And today we're going to talk about biz money mistakes, the top 3 mistakes to avoid, and how to take control of your business. So we can go on to the next slide and we'll see the agenda. So we're going to talk about your role as a business owner, the top 3 biz money mistakes we want to avoid, and certainly how to start new routines so you're going to be able to support your business in the future. So it's going to be really tangible and tactical. And as I was saying early on, you may be getting started. So you might be thinking about things you're not going to do. You might recognize some things you are doing, so you're going to make some changes. Or you might be saying, you know what? I don't make any of those mistakes, so I'm doing really well. So wherever you are joining, wherever your business is at, it's going to be perfect because you're going to be able to validate what's going on. So we can go to the next slide, Maggie. And so this is me and my dog, Rosie. Maggie and I were just talking about Rosie. She's just had a surgery. And so we were just actually talking about the merits of pet insurance. And for me, it's been quite valuable as she's had many challenges from a health standpoint. But she's my sidekick. And as Maggie said, I'm a financial coach. Work group programs or one-on-one coaching with business owners. And so super excited to be here today. Not only do I have lots of formal financial education, a Bachelor of Commerce, MBA, and I'm a CFA charter holder, but over 20 years in the financial services sector, helping entrepreneurs and business owners get access to financing. And for 8 of those years, I was approving loans in Canada and the US for companies in all different industries, all different sizes. So super excited to be here. And so we want to move on to the next slide and talk about your role as a business owner. And certainly we are still in unprecedented times. No one expected the pandemic was going to go on as it has. There's 2 things that I know to be true. Everybody's going through it, and we are not all in the same boat. I like to think about it as a storm, and we're all in some kind of a watercraft, but they're all different kinds of boats. Some people are in a huge boat that's not going to topple over. Some people are in a life raft and really clinging on to that as things go financially. So we want to make sure that we're acknowledging that everybody's in a different situation. And the other thing I know to be true from all my years in financial services is that there are successful companies in every single industry. They're bucking the trends. They are taking advantage of thinking strategically and by being proactive. And so there's always going to be super strong performers, which is fantastic. And those that plan for their cash flow perform better, and they're able to weather those ups and downs when we see the changes in climate and in the economic realities of things that are going on. It is so important as a business owner to take control of the financial side of your business. And I work with so many entrepreneurs who finally come to me. I'd love to say they come to work with me because everything's going swimmingly and they want to advance their financial acumen. But most of the time, it's because there's been some kind of huge milestone or roadblock that's popped up that they realized, I've got to make a change. I can tell you about one woman, Christine, that I was working with, and she was taking course after course after course, learning all kinds of different things in terms of sales, in terms of marketing, in terms of lead generation, operations, so she could do better systems in her business. But she kept avoiding the financial side and not bringing up her training and her acumen. And she was feeling bad about that. And so if anybody who's watching is feeling bad about that, I want to let you know that, number one, it's not your fault. You weren't trained in school to understand business finances or how to run a business. And number 2, there's really no place that you would have been taught this. So it's always the right time to bring up your financial acumen. And so Christine realized, I've got to do this. She was having so much success, but the financial part was just weighing her down. You could see it was really sitting on her shoulders, the stress, the anxiety. She wasn't sleeping well every night, transferring constantly back and forth between her personal and her business account, trying to just make sure there was enough cash in the right place at the right time. And once we started working together, she was able to start forecasting her cash flow. She was actually able to understand her financial statements that she was getting and actually be proactive in her business. And when she did that, she was able to quickly sail towards her goals that she had set for her business because she was actually proactively planning to do that. And so it's not your job necessarily to do the bookkeeping. I don't advocate that a lot of business owners do their own bookkeeping. You can hire a bookkeeper. You can certainly work with an accountant as well. But the buck stops with you, and you've got to be accountable for the results of the business and use them to drive your strategies forward to hit your goals. So setting the stage like that, I want to just make sure everybody's aware. what your role is as business owner and to truly be the CEO, whether it's the CEO of you in your business or of a team of the organization that you're running. It's so critical that you step up into that role, and the financial part is a huge part of it. So you've got to keep your eye on it and have a regular routine in place to monitor those results and actually use those results as you move forward in your business. And you can't delegate your way out of being responsible for all of this stuff. And so we're going to go on now to talk about the three biggest biz money mistakes that I see. And so I'm going to have some tongue-in-cheek comments to go along with them. And some you might be hearing, you've heard them before, but certainly some may be new. And so mistake number one is reviewing your financial results with your accountant only once a year. So let's talk through what this looks like. This looks like, say your year end is December, as most companies happen to have. You give your information to your accountant in probably March or April the following year. Maybe they come back to you in May if you're lucky. Maybe it's June, maybe it's July, you're getting your statements done. And you sit down and you review them with your accountant. Now we're talking about things that are 6, 7 months old. And if we're trying to figure out what happened and maybe the earlier part of the year was poor, that's like over a year old. So that is one of the biggest mistakes I see. It is so critical to have monthly reporting in your business. So if you're just getting started, certainly you can make use of something simple like Excel to keep track of all your sales and all your expenses and what's going on in your accounts. But once you get going, you certainly do want to have an accounting software that you're working with. And as I said, you don't need to do it yourself. Hiring a bookkeeper is very minimal cost to have somebody do it right, to do it on time. Because let's face it, as a business owner, you're wearing about 50 hats. You really don't have a lot of time to get through everything that you need to. And there's probably things that you can be doing where you will certainly be able to have better results and actually yield more value with your time. So why not hire that bookkeeper to do your results, to get them to you monthly? You're going to sit down and then review them. And so the first couple times that you're doing that, it might feel a little bit strange, but I can guarantee that you're going to feel less stress. You're not going to be worrying about these problems that you're magnifying in your head. You're actually going to be able to quantify them. And as soon as we can quantify issues in a financial fashion, we can actually then take action to not only solve them, but proactively plan for the future. And once we get a handle on our current situation, we can then look forward and do cash flow forecasting, revenue forecasting. If we have other members of our team who are responsible for sales, we can help them set targets for where we want them to be. So mistake number one, reviewing your results once a year with your accountant. So definitely want to see everybody doing that at least monthly. I highly encourage people to have a weekly routine where they're digging into their financials so that it becomes just part of your regular routine and you're not spending hours and hours on it, but a small amount of time to do that. So moving on to mistake number two, focusing only on the top line and ignoring the bottom line. So if you're new to business, this might seem a little bit foreign in terms of what I'm talking about. And the main statement that business owners look at is their income statement or profit and loss that talks about all of the sales and all of their expenses in the business. And so sales minus all the expenses tells us how much profit you're making in the business. We're in a culture right now, especially on social media, where people are hyping their launches, they're hyping their sales levels. I had a 5-figure launch. I had a 6-figure launch. I'm hitting this level of sales in my business, which is all well and good. But what is really key is, are you actually making any money? Because we certainly see all kinds of things on social media where everyone looks like they're living the life. They've got the vacation, the fancy home, they're dining out, they've got certain clothes. Their business looks like it can't do anything wrong and everything looks wonderful. But I know, because I step behind the curtain and I see people's financial results, often what they're showing on social media is not the full story. And so if you did have a 6-figure launch, if that's what we're talking about, how much did it cost you to earn those sales? And so I really want business owners to focus on not those sales levels, but actually the bottom line and the profit. Because one of the key issues I see is that business owners aren't getting paid a regular salary. And so that's very challenging when it comes to then supporting yourself, your family, and making your personal dreams come true when you can't actually get a paycheck in your business. And you didn't start your business to not get paid. But that ends up happening in so many cases. So really want to have everybody focus on not those sales, but the sales minus the expenses, and see what's happening on that bottom line from a profit standpoint. And that's going to allow you to achieve your goals. Really focus on getting to where you want to be with your organization. And the monthly reporting that I talked about with mistake number one, like getting access to those reports, helps you stay really focused. When you're thinking about what are your expenses and doing the math in your head, oh, we had sales of this and I think my expenses were that, I can guarantee that you're underestimating your expenses. Think about all those subscriptions that you've got. Some you may be still using, some you might have signed up and forgot to actually cancel. All of these different things. I know even to get my website and my shopping cart to integrate with something else, I've probably got 3 or 4 plugins that are all different providers and all different subscriptions. So going through your statements, finding all the numbers and actually doing the math and focusing on that bottom line so you can make sure that you're profitable so you can get paid. And when you're doing that, you can decide really what kind of customers you want to take on. You can start to dig into this product or service is more profitable than that one, and here's where I want to spend my time. So stop focusing on the top line, really focus in on the bottom line so we can make sure that you're in a position that you want to be. And moving on to mistake number 3, this one happens a lot, especially with new business owners, but I have seen it with larger companies as well. And it's this commingling, mixing everything up together of your business and personal finances. And when this happens and you don't have enough cash to go around, it's really hard to know is my business losing money? Or is my lifestyle too expensive for what I'm making in my business? And everything's a big mess. All of a sudden, you don't have records that are easy to understand. And this can bring a lot of stress. And just like I mentioned, when we're talking about not the top line, but focusing on the bottom line, a lot of times when we go into business, we do have big personal commitments that we've made. It may be to fund part of our family's expenses. It may be to fund family vacations. It may be to accomplish other goals and dreams that we have in our personal life. If we don't know if we're making money, and we've got everything all mixed together, we're not able to live up to those obligations. And that can create a lot of stress and anxiety. And I can tell you, I love money. I love the numbers. I love everyone to make lots of money so they can do what they want with it, whether it be give back to the community, hire people and become an employer, donate some of their services pro bono, whatever it is. When you're not sure if you're making money, it's really stressful. And I know that everybody doesn't like numbers like I do. And so if all your receipts are jumbled together and you're not sure what's going on, it's very easy to just put it in a box, put it to the side, close those emails with all of those invoices or those receipts, and to just ignore it. So let's make it easier on yourself right from the start if you're getting started, or if you're already been in business for a while, just stop today. Open that second bank account. Even if you're doing all your business in your personal name, get 2 personal bank accounts, one that you just use for your personal stuff and one that you use for all of the expenses and revenue that's coming in from your business. And I can guarantee you're going to have a lot less stress and things are going to be a lot more manageable. The other way to deal with that is to even have 2 credit cards. One where the expenses related to personal stuff goes, and one where the stuff goes related to the business finances. So that is mistake number 3, commingling your business and your personal finances. And so we want to talk about starting new routines. So when I work with my clients, I definitely talk about cash flow. Cash flow is different than profit. And so we'll stay there on those 5 steps to cash flow. Thank you, Maggie. And so when we're trying to figure out the movement of money coming into our account, and cash flow in the most simplest way that I can explain it is money comes in, money goes out, and that frequency or that timing that it happens, that's the real magic. And that's the struggle with entrepreneurship. We might have a lot of sales, but if people don't pay us until we send them an invoice, we might have this time delay where we've got to pay bills, but we don't actually have the cash in yet. So when the money comes in, when it goes out, and that timing that it happens, that's cash flow. And we need to understand that just as much as we need to understand if we're profitable in our business. So in order to set these new routines and to be able to support our business into the future, we need to have a way to forecast this cash flow going forward. So really easy to do. Certainly you're going to dig up financial information that you have. You can even start this on a piece of paper. So if you're thinking about it now and you're thinking this is a little bit interesting, pull out a piece of paper and just get started. So we're here in August or September already, first week over of September. Start with the initial balance. What was the balance in your bank account on September 1st? Jot it down. How much money? Step number 2, do you think is going to come into your bank account in the month of September? And so there we're really thinking about what invoices have we sent out that we're going to get paid? That's the first thing, kind of things we know for sure. What are potential prospects that we've been talking to that we think we might close and we might actually get payment this month? And then what are some other things that might happen? So add on how much we think is going to come in terms of inflows. So we've got that inflow part. Now we need to talk about what's going out. It's a lot easier to try to figure out what your outflows are going to be in a given month. You generally have the same expenses. You generally have the same bills that recur. The amounts might be a little bit different depending on how much you're selling, whether a product or service, if you have to pay for inventory, if you have to pay people who are delivering some of that. And so you'll be able to work through that. But outflows are definitely a lot easier. So deduct how much is going out. And when those 3 pieces go together, it's like a puzzle. We've got where did we start, what came in, what went out. And at the end of that, we're going to see what we expect to have at the end of the month. And I highly encourage my clients to have this on a rolling 6-month basis so that you're looking at 6 months out into the future. And I can already hear some people probably saying, how could I possibly know what's going on in 2 months' time, let alone 6 months' time? And that's the thing. It's not an exact science. There's a little bit of art to it. And the closer we get to that date, we're going to have more clarity. But if we don't plan a little bit, it's hard to know and be proactive for what we think might happen. And so try to do it for 6 months. And when you're going to do those 6 months, you're probably going to move from that scrap of paper into something like Excel, where you can map that out and keep track of it and make changes as you're getting closer to those time periods and as things change. And so from there, you've got a cash flow forecast. And step 5 of the 5 steps to cash flow clarity is all day, every day, make it a routine. And so we'll move on to the next slide. And when I say all day, every day, I don't mean we're spending 10 hours a week on our cash flow forecast or the financial side of our business, but we need to be mindful of what's going on in the financial side of our business all the time. I highly suggest that people do carve out at least a half an hour a week to spend on the financial side of the business. So if you are doing your bookkeeping, maybe the first week of the month is doing your bookkeeping. Maybe the second week of the month is now looking at your results. The third week of the month might be doing these revisions to your cash flow forecast that you already have in place and putting your actuals in beside your forecast. So if we're now into September, we would be putting our actuals against August and seeing how well did we do and taking any learnings that we have and things we now know about the world and changing October through the next 5 or 6 months. So having that regular time in our schedule keeps us honest. We need to keep those commitments to ourselves so that we can have that clarity. We can also have the confidence that we know what's going on. And we're really removing that uncertainty so we can feel calm, make decisions with confidence, and be really decisive. And when we have a cash flow forecast, it actually allows us to play some what if scenarios really quickly. What if I hire this person? If they're going to be bringing in sales, how much sales do we expect? It might take a couple months to generate it. What am I going to have to pay for their salary? Or if we've got them on a contractor basis, what if I need to buy a new piece of equipment? What happens then? And so we can quickly put our fingers on the implications from a financial standpoint to make it really simple. Okay. And so take the time to put that in your calendar. So if you've got one takeaway from today, really want it to be that you're making a routine about the financial side of your business. And so moving on to the next slide, just to recap what we talked about today. We talked about your role as business owner, how critical it really is for you to step into that CEO role whether it's a company of yourself or you're leading a team, and really take accountability and responsibility for the financial side of the business. It's not that you need to do everything alone. Certainly make use of accountants and bookkeepers to help you do that, but you've got to review the information and ask questions when you don't understand, and certainly be responsible for that. We talked about the 3 biggest money mistakes in the business that I see. 1, reviewing your results with your accountant once a year only. Number 2, focusing only on the top line, not the bottom line. And number 3, commingling your personal and your business finances. And certainly we've just talked about how to start those new routines in our business so that we can really drive things where we want them to go into the future. And so moving on to the next slide. And so now what? So I've got 2 pictures here, and I happen to love both because I love roller coasters. So I love the picture on the left that I'm seeing, and I also love the picture on the right. This is a place in New Brunswick in Eastern Canada, Hopewell Rocks, and you can walk down there by the rocks when the tide is out, and then the tide will come and actually cover up that hole in the rock, which is pretty cool. But you're either probably feeling like, now that I've talked about all of this stuff, this is a little bit out of control. I don't know how to get my hands around the financial side. I've just been either leaving it to somebody else, or I've been ignoring it and hoping it's just going to work itself out. Or you might be feeling really at peace. You're not making those biz money mistakes. You do have a routine in place. And so depending where you are, I do have a free offering for everybody today, which we can see on the next slide. We have a free Financial Foundations to Entrepreneurial Peace training coming up. It's a live training daily, absolutely free over 5 days. We're kicking things off September 20th. And would absolutely love all the business owners who are checking this out to register at bizpeace.com. We're going to go a lot deeper on the stuff we covered today. We're also going to get into how to price profitably. We're going to get into navigating stakeholder money conversations. So how do we talk to that client who hasn't paid our invoice? How do we actually talk to our bookkeeper and accountant when we don't know what to say? And so would absolutely love for all the business owners to join us for this live free 5 days of training, where I know that you'll be able to gain a lot more insights. And each day we have really practical, tangible tips that you can put into practice daily. There's a workbook as we go through the training as well, so that it's easy. You don't need to take too many notes, and you can really stay focused on what you need to do in your business. And so would love to open it up for questions for people who've been checking us out, who maybe been thinking about the things that I've been saying, and would love to answer any questions on what I was talking about or anything business finance related.
Awesome. It was so much great information right there. And I'm not just saying that. It was wonderful. I mean, it was like, I very much feel like, okay, I have a plan I can walk away with right now. And that's an amazing offer at the end that everyone should also definitely take up for sure. So please, anyone, if you have any questions, pop them in the chat. I know Barb was eager to jump on here and say a couple things.
Great.
That was awesome. And, I often say, those of us who are passionate about starting our own business, we're focused on what we love to do, whether it might be, consulting or a business coach or a divorce coach or, making handmade soaps, whatever it might be. Oftentimes, the financials are not our areas of expertise, right?
Yeah, most times, and there's no place you would have learned unless you purposely sought it out.
Exactly. And, it's all about, there's all that math.
Yes.
And that's, not always a comfortable place for people. They want to make their soaps or they want to do their coaching. They don't want to think about the math part or the financials. You've laid out a very clear and concise kind of routine for any financial or entrepreneur to get their financials in order. And I love that because I'm a small business owner and so is Maggie. And, we do go over our finances and we work through, what can we spend? What can't we spend? Things like that. It's never a fun conversation that we look forward to because it's not in our sweet spot. So I love, Tracey, when you say, I love numbers. I'm like, thank God there's somebody that loves numbers. Thank God for
I
you,
know
goodness.
everybody doesn't. I truly get that. But it doesn't need to be scary. So if you can't take a piece of paper and quickly scratch out the key things going on in your business, you are trying to overcomplicate it. And so, yes, we can get to spreadsheets. Yes, we'll get to accounting software, but the fundamentals we should be able to scratch out on paper in a conversation and get the gist of the business.
Yeah, and I love your offer. In fact, you may see either myself or Maggie in there just so that we can make sure we are, checking off. Or we did this, we did this. Maybe we should tighten this one up a little bit because it's not. We don't do it monthly. I mean, we don't address it monthly. So great tip.
And I love how I want to jump in and say, I love how
Yeah,
Tracey, you said do it daily, 5 minutes a day, and it's really not that bad. You're caught up, and you really get in that routine, which is definitely like even personal finances doing that as
Yes.
well. Um,
yeah,
but yeah, you got to build it in, and then it won't be as painful. It
Yeah,
won't
and if
be
you think
painful.
about it as core as selling or marketing or the
Hmm.
operational aspects, just give it as much time as the others, and then it goes a lot smoother. And the one thing I've really noticed, and especially with women in particular, is that if we ignore something, then it becomes this huge thing in our head. It's weighing on our shoulders. Now it's affecting all our relationships. It's actually detracting us from our business because we can't focus on what we're supposed to be doing best, focusing on our clients. And we've got this split focus because we're so worried about this cash flow that we don't even know if it's a problem. So once we can quantify, make sure everything's okay, or if it's not, brainstorm with people you need to help you to make it okay, then you can actually move ahead to solve a problem. But a lot of people stay stuck in that, oh my gosh, I'm worried, I think it's really bad, but I don't want to look. So
yeah.
quantify it, either be happy with how it is or actually move along to solve it, but then focus on the things that you do best, and it's usually serving your clients.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
knowledge. Knowledge is power. And we say to people in personal finance, we've even posted, can you tell me, would you know the balance of your credit card? Would you know the balance of your checking account? Would you know the balance of your business account? Would you know the balance of your investment account at any given point in time? Because those are numbers that should be somewhat fresh in your
Hmm.
mind, and you're not just not looking behind, the curtain because you don't want to see it. You're best with your knowledge and you know where you stand. It's kind of like if you know you want to grow your business, where do you start? Where are you today? So the financials are critical. And we're so glad, Tracy, that you're here sharing this information. And also, I'm going to make sure that we post in our Facebook page and on our group that you have this offer, which I think is
Hmm.
fabulous, and get that out there for entrepreneurs. Because as we know, at least I know pre-pandemic, women were opening 1,800 businesses every day.
Yeah.
So women are really taking charge. They're not going back to corporate. A lot of women are
Mhm.
looking for other ways to use their time and their passion and their skills. And so a lot of women are opening businesses. And I can't say this enough. Day one, start with your financials in order. Wouldn't you agree, Tracy?
Absolutely. And I don't know the stats in the US. It sounds about right. But in Canada, recently seen a study, and there are three fastest growing groups starting businesses: newcomers to Canada, young adults, and women over 50.
I
And
love it.
that is one of the fastest growing groups for businesses, because women don't want to go back to corporate. They want to use their expertise and build a business based on all of their experience and control their destiny in the future, which I love. And it's really exciting.
Right,
And
right. That's fabulous.
it's even I think a lot of people kind of poo-poo their little shop, their little Etsy shop, or their little farmers market stand. But it's important even in those to take
Mhm.
these 3 steps and to do that no matter what size your business is. If you're bringing in $100 or $100,000, like still have separate accounts. Still really check that and be on it, because you're still a business and you got to give yourself props for that, for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I mean, generally, when I'm working with people, we're going to see like they want to keep cutting expenses. There are some expenses that you can do, and especially if you've got a shop or you've got a restaurant or some kind of food production business, you can reduce your expenses to some point. But it's usually about increasing the sales. And so,
Mhm.
how can you get a handle on your numbers so then you can focus on how do you drive the sales growth? And not only that growth is super hungry. It needs cash to fuel it. So where's the cash going to come from to help you get that growth?
Great.
Definitely, it's
And
great.
in this free offering that are you going to provide like insights as to tools, like resort, like how do I track this? I mean, are you going to give us insights into that? Applications?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
Cool.
And so the first day is around profit versus cash flow. How do we dig deeper on this cash flow forecasting with more details about where do we even get the information so that it's not, okay, she said to figure out the inflows, where do I even go to start that, but really tactical. How do we do that? The pricing, actually walking through what do we need to look at because we want to make sure we're profitable on the things that we're selling. And so very tactical, tangible, so that even if you're only able to make it one of the 5 days, you're walking away with things you can do that day. It's not like you've got to wait till the end to walk away with actual things that you can put into practice.
Great.
I love that.
And
Love
how
that.
long is each session, each daily session?
It's booked for an hour, so
Okay.
not a huge amount of time. There's replays available too if you can't make it live. But so would love to see both of you there.
Yeah.
And
Great.
would love to see some other business owners join us as well, because I know the power of once you get this area under control, how it makes you feel. I can see the confidence just shine through with the people that I work with. But then it also allows you just to park that, you know what's going on, and focus on all the other exciting stuff that you would rather be doing.
Yeah. Well, you'll see us there. We're going to be committed to this because this is an area that we both probably could sharpen our skill set. We know it. We have a lot of our things in place, but you don't know what you don't know unless you stand back and refresh or look at everything. So, yeah, great. You'll see us there. So, thank you so much, Tracey. Thanks for the offer, and I hope other entrepreneurs out there or women considering opening a business know what
Yes.
it takes to get launched, right? And get your financials in order right out of the gate. Save
Right.
yourself a million headaches, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, great.
Awesome. Well, this has been this has been great. Thank you again, Tracey. You can always reach Tracey at BissettFinancialFitness.com. She's also one of our Purse Strings approved professionals, so you can check her out at Purse Strings CO. And then as soon as we jump off this, I'll pop the link to your offering in the link so everyone can get access to that. And we'll have our one-page handout tomorrow. So we'll see everyone again next week. And thank you so much, Tracey.
Thank you.
Thanks,
It's been my
Tracey.
pleasure. Nice to see you
Thank you.
guys.
Bye.